Okay, good evening, everybody. Notice is hereby given that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, the laws of 1975, notice of this meeting has been sent to all school offices, officially designated newspapers, filed with the Township Clerk, and posted in the Board of Education office 48 hours in advance of this meeting. Roll call, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Asor?
Here.
Mrs. Austin?
Here.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Here.
Mrs. Pentarelli?
Here.
Mrs. Sanande?
Here.
Mr. White's not here. Mr. Rossini?
I'm here. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, welcome, everybody. I think the last time we had a board meeting here, everybody was wearing masks. So we're here for a really much happier, great occasion to recognize some of our distinguished retirees, which is terrific. Sad to see them go, but happy for them in their future. I don't have anything else to report except, luckily, there's also no smoke outside. So that was the other thing we had to get through this week. Apart from that, that's nothing else. I have nothing else to report. And we'll just move straight on to committee reports. Buildings and Grounds, Mrs. Berkowitz.
I don't have anything to report. Next meeting is, when is it? August 29th.
Communications and Policies, Mr. White is not here. Is there anything that we need to talk about? Okay. Curriculum and Technology, Mrs. Sanande.
Yep, we met tonight prior to this meeting to discuss updates around technology and updating curriculum for ELA and math, which is expected to come from the state in August. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pintarelli, Finance.
Nothing to report tonight.
And I have nothing to report with regard to either negotiations or personnel. And please take note of the committee meeting schedule at the bottom of the page. And we're going to move on to the public comments section, and this is on agenda items only. Agenda items only. Please bear in mind the Rivervale Board of Education is committed to encouraging the citizens of Rivervale and employees of the Rivervale School District to speak directly to board trustees. In order to facilitate this communication, residents and employees are requested 1, to sign in before speaking, 2, to maintain an appropriate sense of decorum, and 3, to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes. The board will also take under advisement the written comments and opinions of non-residents that are submitted to the board secretary. Being mindful of its responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of meetings, the board retains the right to rule on such matters as the speaker's right to address the board, as well as the appropriateness of the subject being presented. The board's decision in such matters is final. The board also reminds all members of the public that while it subscribes without reservation to the principle of keeping the community informed by policy and law, it cannot allow public discussion of personnel matters, nor can trustees comment on any current or pending litigation. If a matter concerning an employee of the Rivervale Public Schools is of interest or concern to a resident, the matter should be referred to the responsible building principal or the superintendent of schools by telephone, letter, or email. I'm going to open the meeting to public comments on agenda items only at approximately 7:09 p.m. Okay, I'm looking around the room. Looks like nobody wants to make any comments. Anybody? Okay, I'm going to close it to public comments on agenda items only at approximately 7:09 p.m. and move on to the superintendent's report. Mrs. Signori.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, good evening, everyone. So thanks for coming out tonight. We actually have a special evening honoring many of our staff. And first, I'd like to start by thanking a group of individuals for their incredible dedication to our district. We honor 3 teachers who have dedicated a remarkable 25 years of their lives to our schools. 25 years is no small feat. It's like running a marathon, but instead of a finish line, these teachers have been sprinting through lesson plans, parent-teacher conferences, and countless hours of grading. They've gone above and beyond, pouring their heart and soul into the education of our students year after year. Their commitment to their craft is nothing short of inspiring. It takes true passion to fuel the fire of teaching for a quarter of a century. These teachers have been mentors, confidants, and friends for generations to us. So at this time, I would like to congratulate the following teachers and have them come up over to my assistant Kathy, who will be presenting you with a gift. Please welcome and thank Lisa Constance, Catherine Sonell, yes. And Kathleen Wadowich. Thank you for all of your years. Okay, next, we want to recognize another group of staff members who have dedicated their careers to our schools. I'm talking about our retiring staff members who have left a positive and lasting mark on the lives of countless students and colleagues throughout the years. I first want to start by honoring two of our lunch aides, Emma Armstrong and Dawn Klemp. Emma and Dawn have been the smiling faces that greet our students in the cafeteria every day. Their warm spirit and dedication have made lunchtime a joy and a time to relax, socialize, and recharge for the afternoon. We will certainly miss the assistance they provide to our students and staff. Their unique role allowed them to work with hundreds of students over the years, and they made an incredible impact. Please come up. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Next up is Jill Donatello, Woodside School Secretary. Well, we can applaud her now too, I guess, as well. For the past 24 years, Jill has been the organizational guru behind the scenes. From fielding phone calls and solving crises to keeping our records in order, Jill has done it all. Her multitasking skills are top-notch, but she also played the role of the therapist to many and was a great shoulder to lean on during some challenging days. Thank you so much, Jill, for all your time. Please come up. Ah. Next, we have John Minetti, Roberge's head custodian for 15 years. John has kept our school sparkling clean and running smoothly, ensuring that everything is in its rightful place. His superpower is turning chaos into order and fixing anything with a smile. John, your dedication, hard work, and attention to detail have not gone unnoticed, especially during this last year with construction at Roberge. Thank you for everything. Next, we have Lisa Constance. She's our beloved fifth grade teacher, and for a quarter of a century, Lisa has been molding young minds and igniting a passion for learning. Her classroom is a place that allows students to travel through history, dissect math problems, and conquer the world of literature. Her patience, creativity, and a knack for making even the toughest concepts fun have inspired generations. Thank you, Lisa. Next, we want to honor Kathleen Wadowich, our beloved second grade teacher. Kathleen, you have been a guiding light for our little ones as they embarked on their first few years of their educational journey. Your classroom was a magical place where imaginations ran wild, where letters transformed into words, and where the love of learning blossomed. Your patience, kindness, and ability to make learning fun have made a lasting impact on the lives of countless students. We'll miss your storytelling sessions, your creative projects, and the way you made every child feel special. Thank you. Next is Eileen DeMaria, a true education chameleon because she has put on every hat possible. Eileen has spent 26 years in our district, first as a dedicated teacher and then as a compassionate guidance counselor. She's been the guiding light for countless students and staff members, helping them navigate the sometimes choppy waters. Eileen, your ability to lend a listening ear, offer wise advice, and give those much-needed pep talks has been nothing short of remarkable. We're pretty convinced that you have a secret stash of magic wands hidden somewhere in your office, so please leave them for us. Thank you for being a beacon of hope for all of our students and many of our staff. Thank you. And last but certainly not least is our legendary Spanish teacher, John Noon. For an incredible 36 years with us, John has been sharing his love of Spanish language and the culture with our students. John's passion and enthusiasm for teaching have been a true gift to our school community. John has also been a guiding force on the basketball court, soccer field, and baseball field. His coaching skills have led our teams to countless victories, including an unforgettable last season that culminated in the girls' basketball championship. John has instilled in our athletes and our students not only the skills to excel during the game time or in a classroom, but the values of teamwork, perseverance, and grit. We will surely miss your electric energy. Thank you, John. $37. Sorry, Craig. I've lost track after a while. So thanks again to all our retirees. We wish you the best of luck in your next chapter. We'll miss you, and we certainly appreciate all the years that you've dedicated to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And that is all I have for my superintendent report tonight.
That was terrific. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for all your service and everything. I just want to add, and I'm going to give Mr. Tiz credit. I was fortunate enough to be at the last dinner for the teachers, and Mr. Tiz referred to Mr. Noon as Ted Lasso before Ted Lasso. So I thought that was great. And my son had him as a soccer coach. That's the other reason I mentioned it. Okay, and thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations.
We'll take a small pause in case some of our family members and retirees want to skedaddle. Because I know they do. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay. That was nice. We are now going to move to the Mrs. Ippolito, the Board Secretary's report.
Yes, just 2 items. Just a reminder, the board vacancy nominating petitions are due July 31st. We had passed those out to those that are up last meeting. Another reminder, the Holder Middle School graduation tickets and parking passes are in your folders for those who are attending. And that's all I have to report, other than I hope everybody has a happy and healthy summer.
Okay, thank you. So now we are going to move on to general resolutions, resolution G1 through G7. Is there a motion moving this forward, please?
I'll make a motion.
And second,
I'll second.
discussion, questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Asor?
Yes.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Pintorelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes. Moving on, business resolutions B1 through B15. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Second,
I'll second.
and discussion. Questions? Comments? Anything? No? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Asor?
Yes.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Pintorelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes, but I'll abstain from B12.
Certainly. Mr. Rossini?
Yes. And now moving to personnel resolutions P1 through P22. May I have a motion for these resolutions?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and second, please.
I'll second.
Okay. And discussion.
Regarding P5, I just want to congratulate Ms. Rossi. I know she's leaving us, which is sad. However, she is going up to the high school, which is great because my daughter absolutely loved her at Woodside. So she's really looking forward to seeing her when she gets up there.
Yeah.
But I wish her lots of luck.
Yeah, that's terrific.
And she had big shoes to fill at Woodside, and Ms. Rossi has done a really great job there.
Anything else, anybody? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Asor?
Yes.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Pintorelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes. Moving on now to public comments on general items. The Rivervale Board of Education is committed to encouraging the citizens of Rivervale and employees of the Rivervale School District to speak directly to board trustees. In order to facilitate this communication, residents and employees are requested 1, to sign in before speaking, 2, to maintain an appropriate sense of decorum, and 3, to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes. The board will also take under advisement the written comments and opinions of non-residents that are submitted to the board secretary. Being mindful of its responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of meetings, the board retains the right to rule on such matters as the speaker's right to address the board, as well as the appropriateness of the subject being presented. The board's decision in such matters is final. The board also reminds members of the public that while it subscribes without reservation to the principle of keeping the community informed by policy and law, it cannot allow public discussion of personnel matters, nor can trustees comment on any current or pending litigation. If a matter concerning an employee of the Rivervale Public Schools is of interest or concern to a resident, the matter should be referred to the responsible building.
Good evening. In the interest of being under my 5-minute time limit, I'll say that I'm a parent of a 4th grade Roberge Elementary student. And I thank you, Mrs. Superintendent and Board of Education, for your time. Throughout my son's years at Roberge Elementary School, from kindergarten to 4th grade, there were only 2 classes of children. Typically, RES has 3 classes and has teachers available for 3 classes consistently year after year. As the years continue and the need for the need for 3 classes becomes greater and greater. After speaking with parents and teachers, we are again requesting those smaller classes for the incoming 5th graders. Based on my meetings with teachers and parents, we see many reasons for needing the additional classroom. There is a lot of diversity on many levels. Specifically, this class has a large range of academic ability. This class also has a very diverse boy-to-girl ratio of 15 to 7, which is a little bit more than 2 to 1. One class has 23 students and the other has 22 students. There's literally barely enough room in the classroom for all the desks at this time. There are also a wide range of personalities in each class, and obviously one teacher as the children get older. Finally, there are an array of diverse learning styles and communication styles among these students, and only one teacher. There are a number of consequences this class can have because of the higher number of students in each class. I encourage the Board of Education to ask the teachers and ask the principals whether these things have already happened to their students, including their ability to do schoolwork, which may have been impacted more than other grades given the COVID pandemic. They could also be more likely to turn to academic cheating. Their social and emotional needs of their classes might not be met adequately. There can be higher likelihood of bullying in the classroom. And their average test scores may be lower than other grades. So to conclude, the large class size and its nuances will continue to cause this class to be disadvantaged if something isn't done. Roberge already has the teachers and the designated resources available to make this happen. So the question that I have, and that many other parents and teachers have for the Board of Education, is can this happen now? Can this be implemented before their schoolwork gets any more difficult? And I respectfully submit these questions to the board, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I didn't get your name. What's your name?
Sorry, Beth Stern.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
If you'd like, you can certainly reach out to me, and you and I can at least discuss a little bit of the questions that you brought up here tonight.
Sounds good.
Okay, sure.
I'll forward this on. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Great.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I'd also just like a show of hands of anybody else who was here because of this topic that I'm bringing up today.
Okay, but
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming. Are there any other comments? Hi, come on up, please.
We're kind of new to Riverdale right now, so we're here. So,
Sure.
Yeah, and we'll tell you about our story. Thank you.
you can grab another chair if you'd
I can? Thank you. Thanks.
And then just hit the button, or if it's already green.
Yes.
If it's green, then you're good.
You good? Okay, great.
I'm Wendy, and this is my husband, Jason Klansky. We're moving to Rivervale, sorry, soon. We recently, in March, purchased a house with Toll Brothers that is going to be ready, we're told, early 2024. With this being said, we would like our boys to start the Rivervale school system, and we looked diligently to rent an apartment in Rivervale, and we basically came up empty-handed. I'm sure, as most of you know, that there's not a large pool of choices to rent in Rivervale. And we are facing increased difficulty finding it. Our boys are 10 and 13, going to be entering 5th and 8th grade. And we chose to transition them now because it's easier for them going into junior high school and high school for the next step, so at least they would have a few friends. I'm gonna let my husband say a few words, and I'm sure I'll cut in.
I'm sure she will. So we started looking for a home to transition out of New York back in January, and we started looking at Bergen County because it was in close proximity to New York, which we've been residents of for 31 years and 28 years. I grew up in central New Jersey, and she grew up in Long Island, but we knew that we were going to New Jersey. So So to make a long story short, we came across this development at the Toll Brothers development, and we decided that it was a place for us to be. We put a deposit down, and we knew that it was the right time for us to transition the boys out now, because they've been through so much in the past, just in the past 3 years, that we didn't want them to have to transition later on. The gist of it is right now is that when we put the deposit down on the house and we thought we were going to be able to then find a place to live in this town in order we can, so we can be residents, we can't find anything. So right now, our options are one of the other neighboring towns, and we're focusing in right now on Montvale. The problem is that we don't want to put them in the Montvale schools to start, because my 2 kids are having a difficult enough time realizing that they're leaving the home that they've been in for 11 years and coming to a state that they really don't have much familiarity with, and putting them into a school where they're going to make relationships, meet people, to only have them taken away from them the year after when they're now going to be residents of Rivervale. We were told originally that the house was going to be ready in early 2024, but again, I just don't know when that's going to be, happening.
So I think what we're not making clear is that in order for our boys to attend Rivervale schools, we would have to pay a tuition of both boys of $48,000 because we can't find a rental in Rivervale. To make a long story short, if there was a rental in Riverdale that would suit our family, and if there's only one on the market, there's 2 actually. One is completely out of our price range. It would cost us $108,000 to live there. And the other one is not ready until August. And we're not even sure if my son's allergies will be with the house because the house hasn't been updated. Right, has carpeting. So we called brokers, we called everybody. We have exhausted all our possibilities. So we understand that we would have to pay something for our children to go into Rivervale because we are basically have to rent somewhere in a different town. But with that being said, we just can't afford $48,000 plus a rent somewhere else. So we're trying to ask for some type of accommodation and some type of partnership to figure out something that could work for everybody. When we originally bought the house, they told us that we would have no problem getting into the schools. They never mentioned anything about paying, and that's fine if we have to contribute something. I understand. My whole family's in education, so I respect everything. It's that everyone does, and we're appreciative. It's just that the hard part is for our kids not to start there and start in another school and start again in another school. It just is not healthy for them. So this is where our problem is, and this is why we're coming to you.
Good, you want to comment?
No, I just wanted to thank you for coming in front of the board and letting them hear your case. The board is not prepared, I would believe, to make any decision. They would have to discuss, and then one of us will get back to you. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, I didn't have anything else to add. I just appreciate your coming here and
Okay.
speaking to us, and welcome to Rivervale.
Thank you. And we appreciate you all hearing us. And I'm sorry if there's a lot of emotion in my voice. It's just, as a mother, which some of you are and some of you aren't, it's very emotional to think about your children going through this transition. I mean, I even came in this gymnasium and I was like a little scared, starting in a whole new life for us. And, we just trying to,
Transition
right.
For them is going to be detrimental if we have to start them off in Montvale and they're only going to be there for a year, having to pick up again. This would be their second move in less than 2 years, and it's not what we envisioned. It's not what we thought would be something that would be part of the whole scheme of things for us. We thought we would be able to make a smooth transition here, rent the place in Rivervale, and then when we move into our final home, it would just be seamless for them. But it's turning out that it's not, and we just don't know how to transition them into this and ourselves.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other people who would like to come speak on general items?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Can you hear me?
I can. Is the green light on?
It is.
It is. Good.
Doesn't sound loud to me though.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name's Katie Moran. I live at 208 Von Diller Street. That's a funny name. I have emailed and reached out regarding the specials at Roberge, or lack thereof this year. It's quite disappointing, but hopefully we can come to some solution about that. I do agree with Beth Stern about the 3 classes. I think if there's ever been a time where the rising 5th graders need extra attention and extra everything, it is now, because they missed out on 2 years from the pandemic, just like everybody did. They're still suffering. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. It's affected them greatly. It's affected us as parents watching them greatly. It's difficult to explain to a 4th grader why their friends from Woodside are having a concert and they've had like 4 or 5 lessons. No instruments the first semester. I don't know. There's also what she said. Sorry, I don't want to go off topic, but what she said is there's so many different learning styles. People are visual, they're audible, they have to touch things. So there's many different ways that children learn. Music and art, those 2 classes, I mean, some of my best memories growing up. Mrs. Dayhoff, I can still remember the songs we sang. I can still remember annoying my parents with my recorder. Even if it's not in the curriculum, I think the year that they come back from being hybrid, remote, all the technology stuff that was just so overloaded, not because of Rivervale, but because the entire world was trying to be remote, they needed a recorder. We needed to be annoyed. It would have probably made us feel some sort of normalcy. And I can guarantee, I mean, I just will speak for myself, but I'd happily pay for the recorder or more. Parents, I think, will happily jump up, roll their sleeves up, and help out when it's needed, if we're asked. And that's all I have to say. So thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you.
Of course. And thank you for coming in. Anyone else? Okay. Doesn't look like there's anybody else who wants to make any comments. Just want to look one last time just to be sure. And seeing nobody else, I'm going to close to public comments on general items at approximately 7:40. Is there any old business to be discussed? Any new business from anyone? Okay. And we're going to enter into closed session. We're not going to take any action. We're not going to come back out. Is there a motion to enter closed, please?
I'll move it.
I'll
Second,
second.
anybody?
I'll second.
Okay. And any objection? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. It was a very special night. Thank you, everybody who came and made comments. It's always appreciated to get input from the community. And otherwise, have a nice weekend and happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Okay? Thank you. Good night.